Well, hello again, Howard community and friends. And remember, the whole world's listening in Howard community, but we're going to be speaking to the students directly. So I'm James Rhee. We met in episode 1 with Carla Harris. I'm the Johnson Chair of Entrepreneurship at Howard University and a Professor of Entrepreneurship at Howard as well. It's good seeing everyone again. So if you recall, Carla Harris and I spoke about a wide mapping of what we're going to cover. So in addition to talking about the systems of entrepreneurship, where we're going to take a journey from the systems of neuroscience to the systems of person and systems of ethics, all the way to the systems of money and marketing and product and brand and tech. Within each episode, we have the privilege of interviewing real-life entrepreneurs, real-life people, real-life CEOs, who are going to share with you more of their practical journey, one, about how they got to where they were in a really honest way, talking about all the ups and downs, because there are always ups and downs in anything. And two, they're going to give you practical advice about the industry in which they've worked or are working, so that if you have interest in a certain industry, you can get very practical advice. But third, after we deal with the practicality, each entrepreneur is going to take you through that whole journey that I just laid out before from a systems perspective with regard to their personal life. So every entrepreneur and CEO has gone through every system of entrepreneurship in terms of finding themselves, their style of leadership, their own voice, and then picking up skill sets along the way and friends, and trying to paint as full a picture as they can in terms of the story of their own life so they could tell a really complete story of the brand or company that they're running. For my next guest, I'd love to introduce Cynt Marshall. Cynt is currently the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, so the basketball team Dallas Mavericks, and she is the first black woman CEO in the history of the National Basketball Association. She's been breaking down barriers even when she was a college student. So she attended the University of California at Berkeley, where she was the first black woman cheerleader in that school's history. And before serving as the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, before Mark Cuban lured her out of retirement, she spent 36 years as a global senior executive at AT&T. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Cynt Marshall. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, James. It's so good to be here. Oh my goodness, I have just been waiting to meet you, so I'm so glad to be here.
So Cynt, what does it mean to be a conscious capitalist?
I think what it means to be a conscious capitalist is that I get to do well by doing good. My company gets to do well by doing good. And I have learned over the years the value of operating at a higher purpose and using my business and my platform and my resources for something bigger than just us. I get to operate with a higher purpose. I don't have to just wait to go to church or work in the community to do that. Every single day, I get to have something that's bigger than me and not about me, and I get to take my resources and all my means and pour into employees, the community, the environment, stakeholders, suppliers. It keeps me operating at a higher purpose. I love that.
How do you cultivate a conscious culture?
It was a recipe, and really it is a conscious culture recipe. And it started with a vision that said we would set the MBA standard for diversity and inclusion, because I know the business case for having a diverse and inclusive and equitable environment. A set of values that spells crafts, character. At the beginning of it was character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety. We put together a 100-day plan. I met one-on-one with every single person because it's about the employees and not just me or the leadership team, and then I put together a diverse leadership team.
Can you please share with the students of Howard, how did you transform the culture of the Dallas Mavericks?
I think the transformation starts with understanding what your real purpose is. And my purpose for that time, literally for such a time as this, was to take a toxic culture and create a great place to work. And I did it by talking to every single employee, by understanding our customers, by understanding the environment that we were working in, by understanding the suppliers. So just that whole ecosystem, understanding who they are, what do they need from us, how can we actually serve them. So I brought a service mentality. I am going to serve these people. And I tried to role model. I try to role model what character looks like. Try to role model the difference between doing things right that we so often learn, especially as students. We so often learn how to do things right. But there's a difference between doing things right and doing the right thing. And so I try to focus on taking us higher. What's the right thing to do? How should we treat people? How do we treat people in this organization? Women, people of color, everybody. So really focusing in on the people and then going hard on diversity, equity, and inclusion. What does fairness look like? What does sameness look like? What is equality? What is equity? All of that. The way that I know that it's working, because we have metrics. We monitor it, we measure it, and so I can see diversity in our organization. And the reason I focus on that, because I truly believe that a diverse organization helps you make better decisions, helps you win the talent war, it helps you with your customers, improve decision making, all of that. And so I can look at our metrics, and I can see that we had 0 women of color, we had 0 women and 0 people of color in leadership when I got there. And now it's 50-50. So I can see that. I can see our employee culture survey that shows that we're at the top of our game with over 95% of our employees being happy. I can see it in our customer statistics. I can see it in our purchasing spend, that we're spending less because we're doing business with some of everybody. So we measure it.
Can you please talk about the importance of bringing your authentic self to work each and every day?
Well, authenticity is actually one of our values at the Dallas Mavericks. We tell people our hashtag is do you. And we want you to do you, nobody else. It is exhausting being somebody else. It is exhausting having multiple personalities. And if you want to bring energy to the office, you've got to focus on your job and not focus on being somebody else and playing the game. When I hire people, I want that person who I hired, that person who gets up out of bed in the morning to walk into my workplace, because they're going to bring their own ideas, a unique perspective. I'm not hiring them to get up and go into a phone booth and put a big cape on with an M on their chest for Mavs, and we all come in as Mav superheroes all the same. I want that person who got up out of bed in the morning. And so what I want these students to know is you bring something very special, something that is unique, something that nobody else can bring. That's the authentic you. That's what is being hired, and that's what, as an employer, that's what I want to walk into my workplace. Keep your energy for the work and not for trying to be somebody else.
So, what should I be teaching the students at Howard?
Here's what I'd like for them to know. There is value in all of us, and that they bring something very special, and they need to bring it to other people. So to start really with the mindset, once you kind of get out of school, with a we over me mindset. And I always say this during commencement speeches, I said, today is about you. It's all about you. Your whole life, people have poured into you. That's how you got to this point. But when you wake up in the morning following graduation day, I want you to pick something that's bigger than you and not about you. And take everything you've learned, everything that's in you, and go and operate in a higher purpose, bigger than you and not about you. Find that thing, because that will help you have passion every day and purpose in life.
It's been incredible meeting you. I just want to thank you again for everything you've done, and thank you for being so generous with your time here in Austin, and best of luck with the kickoff of the NBA season, and we'll all be rooting for you and the Dallas Mavericks. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to be here and so happy to have a chance to just pour into these wonderful, wonderful students.
For our next guest, I'd love to introduce Hattie Hill. Hattie is the president and CEO of the T.D. Jakes Foundation, and she's also a fellow board member of Conscious Capitalism with me. And for the last 30 years, she's been influencing corporate policy with her incredible efforts in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, but also in the gender equity space. And so with that, I would love to introduce my good friend and fellow board member of Conscious Capitalism, Hattie Hill. Hattie, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about the work that you're doing. It's truly going to make a difference, especially for the students at Howard.
Hattie, why are you a conscious capitalist?
You know, I grew up extremely poor, and so when I started making money, you realize that you have a greater responsibility. My mother said to me always that What you owe to the world is, because you're here and breathing, you owe it to give back always. And so as I learned about money and things growing up as a poor black child in Arkansas, how do I apply that? So now I want to be at the table, and that's why I'm on the Conscious Capitalism Board, as we learn more, as we serve more, and serve with people who may not have had the same experiences that I have.
What does it mean to be a conscious capitalist?
Conscious capitalism for me is to really understand the system of money, but to apply that system with a higher purpose. It's just not about me buying things, but it's about me making a difference.
How do you cultivate a conscious culture?
When you're trying to create a conscious culture, you have to understand what that means to you, what it means to your organization. I happen to work for a conscious leader in TD Jakes, and so it's easy for our company, but within your organization, you have to decide what those values are and then how you apply those values.
Hattie, this is a topic that we covered a lot in our first episode, but you define capital not just to mean money, but you strongly believe that there is another form of capital that's even more important than financial capital, which is talent and culture. So can you please explain that to the students of Howard, what you mean by that?
So talent, culture, and capital, all of those things are so critical in the business environment today. So capital, that's the money. But the other big piece of capital right now, and it's impacting our country and our world, is the talent to help make that capital. So it's good talent. I mean, I was talking to a CEO the other day, and he said, our business is in jeopardy because they can't find the talent. And the talent also drives the culture. So the culture of the people is so important, because if they're not there, if they're not in a good culture, if they don't like it, then you're not getting your capital. So it truly is those three things working together. And this is exciting because we should appreciate all three.
Can you talk about the importance of financial literacy, and more specifically, how do we best teach young people about money and financial literacy?
Financial literacy is a huge component for us at the TD Jakes Foundation. We spend a lot of time educating, especially our young people, people of color. If you don't understand the system of money, because it really is a system, then you start making it and you spend it, and you never really get involved in the system. So we have to educate young people on some of the basics, your credit score, how to manage a credit card, how to manage a bank account, what to do when you start making X amount of money, what do you do with the rules of law, taxes, all of those things are so important. And I would say to young people now, as you start moving through your college career and moving out of college into your first role, the greatest lesson you can learn is financial literacy.
I'm going to be spending a fair bit of time at Howard, so what should I be teaching the students at Howard University?
What I would like African American students at Howard to learn is that this is your time. This is an amazing time in history where you can grow, do, be, anything is available to you. But you have to understand all of those systems that will help get you there. There will be people who will mentor you, who will support you. You want to look around and say, what is there that I want? And then let me find the people to help me achieve that. And I think if they can really get that and that confidence that you can do it, the rest of it will come. Hard work, study hard, but really get focused on what you want to do, because this is the moment. You have to take advantage of it.
It's been incredible spending time with you. You were incredible on stage with Cynt. Just want to thank you for agreeing to do this and to help spread the word and to help teach the students of Howard and the rest of the world that's listening in about all the great things that you've done and all the great things that we all can learn from your incredible experience in your life. Thank you so much for being here.